For the past month or so, I've been playing exclusively Magic Find builds, and almost the entirety of that was spent playing some version of Tornado Shot Deadeye Magic Find. This has resulted in probably the most expensive min-max build I've ever played in my history of playing PoE, and now I think it's time to share that and the progression of kind of where we started with this build and going forward. I want to include where this build started, just show how reference of how accessible Magic Find is this league, and just kind of cover some of the pitfalls of starting Magic Find and finding that balance between doing enough damage, survivability, and still working in some quantity and rarity into your build. Also in this video, I'm going to include my general thoughts on Affliction and Magic Find and how those kind of work together and created the absolute most insane chance we've ever had for Magic Find and farming raw currency we've ever had in Path of Exile, at least from my experience playing the game. I'm going to include two POVs, both for where my Magic Find build started and then where my Magic Find build is now after we have significant investment. I'll talk more about rough estimate of how much the gear is worth, but I wouldn't even know where to begin, so we'll go into that. Other than that, let's remember to like, subscribe button while you're down there looking at the POBs, and leave a comment down below. I want to look for what people have done in this league. Did you play Magic Find in this league? What build? What did you think? I played almost exclusive Tornado Shot Deadeye, but I know Chieftain was a popular build. I tried it, played for a little bit, but Tornado Shot, just speed, quality of life that you get from this build is just too much for me, and it's one of my favorite skills in the game, so that's what I ended up doing. That being said, let's jump into the character and take a look at where we started, where we are now, and go over some of the gear and gameplay. Alright, so I actually want to start off by talking about where this build started. This is basically the build I was playing when I entered into maps. I had to go back into PoE Ninja and back to week 3 of the league to actually figure out where it started. So the character's name is Firks, PFMF. I actually started this off with plans of being a Pathfinder, doing some Caustic Arrow, Magic Find stuff, and ended up not actually enjoying it that much and switched to Tornado Shot Deadeye pretty quickly. That's why it has the weird name. But this is basically the build. We used Abysscos instead of Headhunter for like the first day or two, and then we farmed a Headhunter pretty quickly. Divine Orbs and Doctors, we're playing Burial Chambers, so we're out pretty quickly. But I want to talk over this build quickly, where we started. You'll see that we're not using Greed's Embrace, we're using High Re's Ire. This was the quality of life. I started with Greed's Embrace, wasn't doing enough damage, didn't have the spell suppression from Charms or anything like that, so had to switch to a High Re's Ire. Quality of life went through the roof. Couple of Venters. I was just trying to get 10% quantity and positive resist. These are okay. They cost probably 5 to 10 divs a piece. When I say this is a starter Magic Find build, this is probably a little bit past starter, but it is where I felt super comfortable playing the build at least. So see here, we had a bow. Basically all I tried to get was the standard elemental bow. We're not playing Fizz conversion yet. We're doing pure tri-ele bow. I crafted this build myself after buying the base. Doesn't have extra arrows, just crit chance, attack speed, tri-ele, doing Trinity stuff. Gloves are super average. They have the chill thing, but we're not doing pure cold, so it wasn't up all the time. Helmet has rarity, just life. Chaos res, lightning res. You know, without perfectly rolled jewels, without perfectly rolled clusters, you do need chaos res. We have a Watcher's Eye that gives chaos res. And look at the tree quickly. See that we're not even we have a regular Thread of Hope. We have a path of building up for this as well. You'll be linked down below, but we're using a large Thread of Hope to grab the extra skill projections. And definitely make sure to check this out if you're beginning Tornado Shot Magic Find. I think this is a good idea of kind of the gear you're looking for to get the build feeling comfortable. Do T16s if you want to do T7 Cemetery, which I know is super popular this league as well. You don't need quite this much gear, but this is where I felt comfortable playing as a T16 mapper. Alright, so I slowly started upgrading this build piece by piece, and I want to talk about where this build's at now. So let's jump into PoE. So this is the character. We're level 98. Character still dies. You're still playing a don't get hit Deadeye Tornado Shot build. Leveling it is not super fun. I can go sit in 5 ways for a while and do it, but that's just incredibly boring to me, so we're not going to be doing that. But this is the build now. We have multiple mirror items. I think we have 3 mirrored items. Pretty sure every other piece of gear on this build costs at least a couple hundred divines. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Probably the boots don't, or the chest piece don't, but other than that, there we go. I can say for sure this is like the most min-max build I've ever played in Path of Exile. We have perfectly rolled gear, we have mirrored gear, of course. I'll look at my clusters and my jewels in a second here and talk about where like possible upgrades would be, but I don't particularly plan on playing this build much more from this point going forward. We have enough currency that I'll ever need. After the first couple weeks of the league, I really cut back on my playing time to like just nights and weekends. So we weren't sitting here grinding 16 hours a day of Magic Find, but we ended up dropping 4 raw mirrors, including 1 duped mirror. So that was pretty cool. Never thought I'd drop 4 raw mirrors, period, let alone dupe a mirror. So that was like peak of my PoE content this league. Other than that, I'll talk about the gear real quick. We're playing Agreed's Embrace, +1 socket of gems. Let's start with the mirror gear first, I guess. First thing we mirrored, of course, is the Spine Bow. I believe this was a free mirror service from, I forgot who. This was not the original Fizzbow. That was free. But yeah, perfectly rolled. Has our synthesis implicits. Yeah, it's good. Paid a mirror for it. After that, we did the Quiver mirror. This one was from Spicy Sushi's Cellar Shop. Paid a mirror. Gave a little bit of a tip. I went for a full prod speed and then the fizz conversion. There's a couple different mirror bows out there, or mirror quivers, I should say. Fizz conversion to cold helped us free up a spot on our gloves, and prod speed just feels really, really good with 3-nail shot, so went for the full prod speed fizz to cold conversion. Felt most quality life. And the third mirrored item we got is our amulet, Simplex amulet. I wish Simplex amulets were a little bit more common, because this isn't like mirror quality stats, but just this base alone is like over half a mirror. So just kind of worth mirroring this. I mirrored this for free from Top Gun. So this is the full proj speed, proj damage, quantity, crit multi. By the time I mirrored this, rarity wasn't super important anymore. Unique items had basically are pretty much free at this point. Pretty much there's no unique items worth farming for anymore. So I went for full quantity and then quality life with crit multi and proj speed, proj damage instead of the rarity version of this amulet. But that is super viable if you're still looking for uniques like Mage Blood or Headhunter. Just didn't seem worth it at the time. Other than that, of course, we're using Headhunter. Just a normal Headhunter, no implicits, not corrupted. Using Spell Suppression, Gold Worms, perfectly rolled. Greed's Embrace, perfectly rolled with +1 level socket of gems to get more Enlighten. So we have level 4 Enlighten, gets it to level 5. Calandri's Touch, and this is Venturous Gamble, which was about, I don't want to say 200 Divines. So 10% quantity, 35 rarity, big rolls on reses. The most important res to get here is lightning resistance. Lightning resistance is the only thing you don't get from your gear naturally. So you get some cold res from golden plate. You get some fire res from Nubbix, but yeah, you don't get any lightning res naturally from your gear. Pretty important to get a big lightning res roll on your gold ring, and then Calandri's Touch to mirror it. Drop the Calandri's Touch, didn't pay for it. So that was cool. Other than that, other pieces of gear, we have helmet. I crafted this helmet myself. I bought the fractured base, rolled, and got pretty happy with the results. I was just going for max intelligence, chaos res on the suffixes, and then we used Eldritch Currency to craft the prefixes. Eventually hit T1 of life and hybrid life evasion. And this is perfect for what I wanted to do. Our chaos res is basically capped. You can see from our defenses here. While Progenesis is up, basically capped, and while we're mapping, Progenesis is always up. Gloves are the generic, probably like the popular chilled damage gloves. So attack speed, spell suppression, damage against chilled enemies, damage while leeching, T1 life, and fizz converted to cold. Gives us full cold conversion, inflict cold exposure, gain 1 rage. That's the gear. I have a near perfect definition to slit, a good Progenesis, and then Quicksilver, Jade, and Gold Flask. Almost more importantly than the gear though is actually the jewels and tree for this build. So we're using a Massive Thread of Hope. This is one of the biggest upgrades you can do in the build. Very expensive usually. The perfectly rolled Massive Thread of Hope. I'll just grab a bunch of cool nodes, unlink a bunch of stuff here and save a bunch of points. With that, we have a Lethal Pride. This is not the perfect Lethal Pride, but the perfect Lethal Pride is like multiple mirrors. So this is a 15% double damage Lethal Pride. Chance to gain endurance charges. And I believe it has 20% reduced critical strike damage taken. So, very nice. We have our 8 passive large cluster, Feed the Fury, Fuel the Flight, Martial Prowess, very common bow skills. And then with a medium socket with Social Respect Concoction. This is really the standard stuff for Magic Find Tornado Chat. You'll see a bunch of builds that ran at this league. This is what they did. I couldn't find anything better, so why fix it? Upgrade a Watcher's Eye, of course, to our double hatred, penetrate cold resistance, and plus crit multi, or plus crit chance. affected by hatred. And then we have a pretty good second cluster jewel large. That's just your attack speed. Chaos has max life with increased effect. If I wanted to upgrade this build further, the next biggest upgrade would be getting Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flames instead of these jewels. These are just some nice quality of life jewels for me to gain phasing, stuff like that. But the focal point does like 20% increase the DPS from Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh. And that, of course, is with the Charm build. Gaining Adrenaline, Mana Reservation Efficiency, Chance to Blind. Chance to Blind is really nice for playing Don't Get Hit. So where we have Evasion, our enemy's accuracy is down, just those two scale well together. And then Spell Suppression and Chance to gain Onslaught. Big thing I don't use that I see most people do is they've been using Frenzy of Onslaught. I'm actually just using regular Frenzy. I like being at 4 Frenzy charges. It felt much better to me than playing Frenzy of Onslaught and being on average at 2 Frenzy charges. Just, yeah. So that's why I'm playing regular Frenzy and then using an Onslaught Charm. But I think both are fine. Other than that, yeah, this is definitely by far the most min-max build. I'll have the POV again down below of this completed build as well. MF has been one of my favorite ways to play League of Legends, Path of Exile, for probably the past like 4 or 5 leagues. And this was by far the most like dopamine receiving. Like the fact that we're dropping raw mirrors and counting how many raw mirrors we drop should be a sign alone. There's likely not going to be a Magic Find build, Magic Find league that's better than this one going forward. I just don't see that happening. Last 2 big Magic Finds league were like Sentinel and then probably back to Scourge League. I was thinking about those, very popular, and those are farming like div cards, not mirrors. So there you go. Other than that, I want to talk about where I'm going forward now playing Path of Exile the rest of the league. I'm actually still having a ton of fun playing this league. I've been playing it like I think still every day since the league came out. But going forward, I want to test out some of the new Transfigured Skill Gems. We've got so many Transfigured Skill Gems this league that basically people didn't test because they jumped into either Magic Find or Valdo farming or any of the new stuff that we can do this league thanks to Charms and Valdo boxes and Magic Find from the Wildwood. We kind of like, I think as a community, kind of skipped past a bunch of the cool new Transfigured Gems. So that's what I want to do for the rest of this league. Just test the new gems, new builds, see what we can possibly do, what we might have missed. So make sure to click the Twitch link down below. I'm be streaming a lot more often while I'm testing new builds. I think that's way more fun to stream and talk about while we're doing something that you can't just find another random YouTube video on. So doing that, and click the like, subscribe button. If a build works out really well, I'll post a video on it. If a build doesn't work well, I'll probably post a video on it and talk about why it didn't work, what could be done to fix it, or things like that. I already have a list of off-meta builds / combinations of Ascendancy's new Transfigured Gems I want to combine together and see how they work, and I want to learn for myself on those. The first 3 I looked up, nobody had any content on, so I'm going to be learning those. Other than that, I just want to say thanks for watching. I know this hasn't been released a video in a long time. I just want to talk about what I've been doing this league. Didn't feel super necessary to post videos about Tornado Shot Magic Find, as it was super well covered by other really good content creators, but I want to share where we're at. I want to jump in my stash quick. We basically used all our divines, but we're still sitting on 1 mirror. So we're good to test out whatever we want going forward this league. And if I need to, I'm sure I can sell off some mirror gear here. Although I'll probably keep this build forever, just because of how much we have invested to it already. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm going to finish up, play a little bit of the gameplay more from the intro video. That was a map I did a couple days ago. Fun fact, the next map I did dropped on mirror, and I wasn't recording. So, but anyways, here's the gameplay. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.